Hello there, I'm Hannelore De Grande. I'm the coordinator of the Researcher Training and Development Office, and I will walk you through all the stages of your PhD trajectory here at the VUB. Let's start off with the enrollment. Since you got to this e-learning, this means that you successfully completed that stage. Well done. It's important to note that you will have to re-enroll each year in order to get to your defense. But before you can re-enroll, you will receive an email stating the procedure. You just have to follow that. It's only a couple of clicks, quite easy. But in order to receive that email, you will have to fill out your progress report and get a positive evaluation. Then you will be able to re-enroll. I will come back at this, what this all entails, but it's really important to get that overall picture. That progress report is really important for this stage, and without it, you will definitely not get into that stage. So you started to do your research here at the VUB for a couple of weeks or a couple of months now. What should be the focal point of what you are doing? We know it can be quite overwhelming because you want to do several things at once. You want to dive into your literature, maybe you want to set up experiments, analyze data that is already collected, or maybe collect your own data. You want to present your first results on conferences in order to get feedback, to write your first article, in order to publish your first article. That is really what your PhD is all about this cycle. But there are a few documents that might give you a little extra support to handle all of this. And the first one I want to mention is actually the research plan. Normally, you handed in your research plan when you enrolled. Well, actually, your promoter should have. The research plan is normally something you have written together, or maybe alone. So sometimes it's together with your supervisor. Sometimes you already have it because it's part of the rigid project you are working on. Some of those aspects might differ between different researchers. I say normally because in some cases we also know that the research plan is handed in a little bit later. For example, if you're a teaching assistant and you start off with a lot of teaching loads, we get it that you don't have much time for that research already. That comes in a bit later then. That's also fine. And your research plan can also make room for that. But it's important to discuss it in the start so you know where you're at, actually. So the research plan, it's kind of a roadmap for you in order where you know you're heading towards. So it can be a little bit different depending on the specific funding you have. As I mentioned earlier, if you're on a research project with quite detailed milestones and goals on set deadlines, you already know where you're heading, and that is quite important. And we also found from the PhD survey what the importance of this research plan is. And it's also one of the reasons why it is compulsory now to have it from the start, because we see that there is quite a big connection with, in the end, having a successful PhD. It really is a guide along the way. And of course, if you're looking back at it when you're at that defense, it might be that that research plan has changed quite a lot over time, and that is not a problem per se. It's just really important tool to have for the beginning as a starting point to discuss where you're at. So definitely make use of it and make changes over time as much as you need it to be. Take it with you to discussions with your promoter. That's very important. And And a second document or tool that is quite important for you in the beginning is that expectation sheet. That is one that is also specifically between you and your promoters. And what does it entail? This helps you to discuss a number of topics on the way you usually work and the way your promoter usually works, and to see how this comes together. The idea is that you both fill it out separately and then have a discussion about it afterwards. Of course, your promoter can have its own style and its way of working, but it's also his job or her job to see that he or she has a different person in front of them. Not all researchers are the same. They all have, they might have other needs depending on, for example, the number of meetings you should have on a frequent basis. Some work quite independently and don't need much follow-up in the beginning, while others benefit most from quite often meetings. So this is a good timing during that expectation sheet to put that on the table, what you specifically need. Of course, it's possible that your promoter does not have the time to meet once in a week or once in 2 weeks. But then you try to set up a schedule that is working for both of you. And of course, this can also be changed over time when you have other needs, when you don't need as much meetings anymore, for example. But it can also describe or make tangible the specific unwritten rules that are in the research group. Your promoter has knowledge about many different things, and some of them might seem for him or her quite easy or that everybody knows, but in fact it is perfectly possible that you don't know about it. So then it's also a good moment for them to really state what is important, maybe it's not possible to find a common ground, but it is important for you to take it into account. If you're working on a project and you're thinking that you can go a very separate way, and in the end, you really have to strictly follow it. It's important to know that from the start what kind of freedom you have there. So please use it as a conversation starter, and don't be afraid to bring it up again afterwards if you see that some things are not working as planned, or if you maybe also have the feeling that you want to make some changes to it, or that you're ready for a next step and more independency, for example. So both the expectation sheet and the research plan are there to help you along the way. Don't see them as administrative hurdles you have to take, but use them with purpose. So, what else do you need to comply with? There is, of course, also the compulsory doctoral education program, but you will see all about that in the next chapter. There is something specific within that program that I wanted to highlight here, and that is our PhD introduction package. Our compulsory package is quite flexible. You can, depending on your own needs, follow certain training or do be active in certain activities. It's really up to you. But it's not the same for the PhD introduction package. That is the same for everyone. First off, it connects to 3 different tracks. The first one you're already in, and that is the general PhD e-learning. And what is important there, it takes you to all the different steps in your PhD trajectory. It also highlights the different services you might need. And there it's important to note that there is also a welcome day organized by P&O together with us from RTDO. And then this gives you the opportunity to put a face in front of the services. So there's a marketplace at noon while you have lunch together with your fellow researchers, which is also nice to connect with them. They might have the same challenges in the beginning as you have, so you can discuss that. But you can also see who is really working in all those different services we have here for you at the VUB, and maybe ask them already some questions if you already have difficulties along the way, or you're just interested to know what they are doing. It's a really ideal to combine these two. That is the first part. The second track is the research, is the data management track, in which also in e-learning you will learn how to manage, store and share your data. Quite easy to follow, and that is all that. A third part is then the scientific integrity and ethics track. That one is also an e-learning, Mind the Gap, which is an inter-university initiative. And you have to combine it with 2 sessions during the Ethics Week. Ethics Week is organized once a year in the first week of December. It has a lot of different, it is every time a very different but very interesting program, so you will definitely find something that is interesting also related to your research topic. Check it out and be in time to secure your spot, I would say. And of course, it's also important to discuss these kind of trainings with your promoter, even in your research plan. Discuss from the beginning what kind of training you might benefit from most. Depending on your research topic, it might be that you need specific in-depth training, or maybe even a masterclass or summer school on a specific methodology or on theoretical insights, but it's also possible that you want to learn things that we organize and transferable skills on how to best organize your day or your project, and that is all possible. And it's ideal if you discuss it with your promoter, in order he can also give insights on what you might need along the way. These trainings are there for you. They cost quite a lot of money, but for you they're for free, so really get the most out of it, I would say. So now we come back to that progress report, right? While your research plan was actually looking ahead to what you're all planning to do, your progress report looks back on what you have done so far, what worked, what didn't work, how you have to rearrange maybe certain parts. It's a very important step to take, to reflect, to get feedback. In the first place, of course, of your promoter, but then also from your advisory committee. You should have an advisory committee within before the first progress report. Of course, when you start off only a few months before you need to hand in your progress report, the faculty will grant you some extra time, but really make good use of this advisory committee. It includes your promoter or promoters and extra advisory members that are researchers, postdocs or professors from others within your research group, maybe outside of your research group, or even outside of VUB. Really have a good think about who you can invite, who has an added value for your research topic. Maybe certain expertise in a specific topic, or maybe a kind of methodology that you want to be using and that you want to get feedback on. Really look into that. If you're having several promoters, one advisory committee member extra is enough. If you only have one promoter, you need to have at least 2 extra members. So you come together once a year at least to have a discussion on your progress, and during a meeting where you present and that you really can in-depth discuss on what you have done so far, what challenges you have met, and they will give you sometimes maybe too many tips on how to progress. It's also good for if you have a follow-up meeting planned with your promoters, so you can discuss what kind of things do I need to take into account and which not. And then your promoter will follow up on that, fill out his part of the progress report. You will hand in the first part, but the second part describes the advisory committee and of course, in the end, the advice itself, which can be positive with comments, or negative. In case it's positive with comments, that means your advisory committee or your promoter had some serious doubts or specific things that you really need to look into by the next progress report. So you have to take that into account. You get a lot of time to do so, but then it's important that you can show that you really worked on those points of attention. In case you get a negative advice, the faculty will organize a hearing with your promoter and then separately with you to see both sides of the story. And in the end, they can follow the advice of the promoter or change it into a positive advice. These advices will be collected by the Research Council, and they, after ratification, you will get that email to get re-enrolled. There's only a very minor part that really gets a negative advice. So don't worry about it. Focus on these aspects. Have good discussions. Don't wait too long to go to your promoter in case you're having issues, and then you will find a solution together. Also important to note, during the timing of the progress reports, it depends a bit from faculty to faculty. Check the roadmap of your own faculty to see when you will have to hand it in. They will, of course, give you a heads up via email, but at the latest it will be the 15th of April, and you have to hand that in. This gives you a moment of reflection on the objective matters of your PhD trajectory. While the PhD survey, it's also linked because it's also a way of looking back at your trajectory until now, but it's more related to the subjective matters of that trajectory, the kind of support you received from your promoter and others within the research group, the support you received from central services such as RTDO. All these things you can really comment on, you can give us your view, and we're working with that. So it's really important to do both aspects, to give feedback, and that we can, from a policy side, make more changes in order for you to get a better chance of getting to that defense. And then you arrive at the most important milestone there is, maybe the PhD submission. I understand it might seem too far off maybe, but after a few iterations you will get there. And then it's important to take into account the faculty roadmap for all the different steps you will have to take. Normally your promoter will hand in the jury composition to the faculty board, and they will approve it or make some amendments. Then the jury chair will invite all jury members and set a date for the private and the public defense. And your faculty will also check before you can enter that private defense if you have completed everything that you need to in the whole of the compulsory doctoral training. So it's very important to check your portfolio regularly because then and update it because then you will see that you get there and you arrived at all the minimum criteria that you need, and you can go further to your defense. It's very important to do it on a regular basis. Yeah, I think those are the most important things I wanted to mention to you. I wish you all the luck with your research. I hope you will arrive at this stage. And of course, it's a very stressful period when you're in front of those jury members. But really try to enjoy it as well, because it's your work, an immense work of 4+ years. So congrats if you're getting there. And if there's something along the way, don't hesitate to let us know via research.phd@vub.be if you're having further issues that we can help you with. Enjoy your journey.